Hey, Mavericks Chase here, back again with another module to help you grow your own marketing agency. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about company branding. This course really hits home for me because I have a creative background. In fact, I was the creative director for a few different companies before partnering up with Blake and starting Digital Mavericks and doing other things. So for this course, we're going to split up branding your company into two major categories. Those categories are brand identity and visual identity. Most people who are unfamiliar with branding often associate it strictly with the visual aspect of a brand. Even though it's a major aspect of it, it's just a portion. When you're going through the process of actually developing your company's brand, here are some things that you really need to nail down so that you can stand out from your competition who are vying for the attention of the same clients that you are seeking after. So let's start with brand identity, and then we're going to split this up into about 6 subtopics within this one. This is what encapsulates everything about your brand that is not the visual portion of it. So first, it's your story. How is your company formed? What led you to this place? You need to be able to communicate this so that it grabs the attention of your audience and helps them to feel connected to you. When you tell your story in a compelling way, that is when people are hooked, and that's whenever they want to look deeper into what products and services that you're offering. And to piggyback off of developing your story, this is where you need to begin to formulate your values, which is the second subtopic in brand identity. So your values, that is everything that your brand stands for. What matters to you? And how can you use that to connect yourself with others that value the same things? And that's where value alignment becomes extremely important. So if you are very conscious about how a product is sourced, then you're going to find products that align with that specific value. How can you align with the values of those that you're trying to work with? The third thing in brand identity is messaging. When you're talking about messaging, what is your communication style? What is your tone? Are you aggressive? Are you passive? Are you passive aggressive? It's how you actually approach verbal and non-verbal communication. When people see you, what is that feeling that they get from your communication style? That's up to you. You need to figure out what is your voice and how are you going to communicate with your audience. This naturally brings us into the next subtopic, which is going to be personality. I can think of several brands where they have a very distinct personality that just causes people to gravitate towards them. One that comes straight to mind is the company Liquid Death. When you look at their brand, they're edgy, they're grungy, they're also kind of humorous, and so it's all of that is kind of bundled into one thing, and that's their brand's personality. How can you do something similar that makes you stand out from your competition? The fifth subtopic within brand identity is, what are your services? What exactly do you do for your clients? And this, how you communicate your services is how you're going to tap into a specific need and how you're going to fulfill that need for your clients. This can be pay-per-click advertising, social media management, whatever it is. What are your services and how are they aligning with the needs that your potential clients have? So when they're searching for an answer to a problem within their business, how are they going to come across you and then decide that you actually meet that need? You need to make it clear that your services are specifically for this industry and why they need to use you. And then the sixth thing for brand identity is value proposition. When it comes to your services, you have the specific things that you are going to do for the client, but then you have the value proposition, which is, how does this benefit them? What is this going to do to actually grow their business? It's extremely important for you to actually come up with a tangible, objective standard in which you are offering your services and showing this is what your business looks like now. When you work with us, this is what your business will look like after. That is your value proposition. Make that compelling, and people will begin to sign up with you because you've shown them how their business will actually benefit from your service. Now, going from brand identity, we're going to be talking about visual identity. And this, like I said before, this is what most people think of whenever they think of a brand. They think of the visual aspects. The visual aspect is just a stand-in or a symbol that is supposed to encompass everything about your brand, from its personality and messaging and everything else. When they see the visuals, they should immediately think about those other things in your brand. I think one of the easiest examples of this is Nike. You see the swoosh and there's nothing else that needs to be said. You know exactly what that swoosh stands for. You know their personality. You know what they offer. All of those different things. So with your visual identity, you need to be able to build that authority so when people see your brand, they know exactly what you stand for. So let's talk about the first thing under visual identity, logo. And this is the most common thing that people think of whenever they think of visual identity or branding. Your logo is the simplest visual representation of your entire business. Your logo needs to be unique. If your logo is not unique and it doesn't stand out, this is the front door to your business. When people see your logo, does it capture their attention? Your logo needs to be able to communicate that you are a professional business with a service that can actually meet the needs of your clients. And this can be done in a variety of ways. You can have colorful character logos. You can have minimalistic, basic, and simple logos that are still very professional visually. Whatever you choose to do, it needs to be unique and it needs to actually capture the attention of those that are looking for your services. So if you're looking to have a logo done, don't go ask your cousin that knows how to use Photoshop. Find a professional designer that can actually walk you through this process of building your visual identity and your logo to actually captivate the audience that you're trying to reach. The next portion of visual identity is your social media profiles. You need to make sure that your social media profiles are cohesive and that they are congruent across the board, so that when people go to one social media profile, they see the similar things as if they go to another social media profile. They're not going to see wildly different colors, wildly different design features. This takes a lot of work, but it's incredibly important that there is a consistency across the board so that your prospective customers aren't confused, but they also see that you're a professional brand, and consistency helps to draw everything together. This goes right into the next portion of the visual identity, is your website. This needs to be consistent as all of your social platforms. The colors need to match, the typography needs to match, the logo designs need to match, and it all needs to be cohesive. Then make sure that your website has all of your services and how you communicate your services and your values match exactly what we talked about in your brand identity. When people are navigating your website, they aren't confused or off-put because there's no consistency there. I keep saying consistency, 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 consistency. Your website is no different. Make sure that everything matches on your website. Another piece of the visual identity puzzle is your colors. So whenever you're choosing colors, whether it be for your logo, your websites, whatever it is, there's a whole science on how colors make people feel. Understand that if you use things like red, we associate that color with stop, no, negative, aggressive, angry. All of those things are associated with the color red, so make sure that you use the color red appropriately. When similarly, the color blue, we think of calming, we think of medicinal, we think of clean. That doesn't mean that every logo needs to be blue. Just make sure that the color blue is used in the appropriate places so that it will motivate your customers to do the things that you want them to do. So like a buy now button probably shouldn't be bright red. Blue is the better color choice for buying actions. Again, consult with a professional designer who also has knowledge of color science, so that whenever you're building your visual identity, you know what colors to use when and where. And then finally, for visual identity, typography. Typography is what fonts that you use in your visual identity system. So on your website, in your logo, your business cards, wherever, it's incredibly important that your typography is consistent across the board, so that you're not using one font in one place, another font in another place, one font in one situation and another font in a different situation. Your typography is also important for communicating a lot of your brand's personality, how people should feel about you, etc. When I think of a children's brand, the typography is mostly going to be big, chunky, circular, rounded fonts that are playful, and that's what it makes me feel whenever I look at those brands. Something that's more premium, you may think of something like a serif font that looks fancy and it gives off that premium vibe. So you need to use typography in your visual designs that give off the vibe that you want others to feel. But that's it for today. Obviously, this topic is very close to my heart, and so if you have any questions, shoot me a message and I'll be happy to help you with that. But otherwise, there's a lot to go into this, and there's many years of experience that you will need to actually really get a grasp on it. And that's why I keep saying hire a professional to help you with these things. But whenever you do, think through this stuff and strategize in a way that you can present your brand so that your prospective customers want to choose you over the next one. And with that, have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next course. Now get to work.